everyone, and welcome to episode 467 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I'm doing great.
That's good.
You know, this episode is going to come out right as we're probably coming home from CrimeCon.
Yeah.
But we're taping it before we leave, so we can't really say how CrimeCon went. We'll have to save that for next week.
It was amazing.
But I'm sure it will be. We know it will be.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout outs. We had Chloe Aird.
What's going on, Chloe?
Stacy.
Hey, Stacy.
Claire Matthias.
Thanks, Matthias.
Constance.
Because she's constant. Constance is.
I love that name.
Yeah.
Katie.
Hey, Katie.
And last but not least, Sally Everhart jumped out at her highest level.
Well, thanks, Sally.
Yeah, we appreciate the new support. And then if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Wendy Webster.
Well, Wendy Webster. Love it.
Yeah, we appreciate the long-term support. Absolutely. So we have an episode out right now on True Crime All the Time, and it's part 3 of our Long Island serial killer coverage. So hope everyone is enjoying that. If you haven't, make sure you check those out. All right, buddy, are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved?
I am.
We're talking about the death of Franchesca Alvarado. 22-year-old Franchesca Alvarado, a devoted single mother, went on what was supposed to be a one-night trip to Atlantic City. In March 2012, she never returned. Over a year later, parts of her remains washed up on the beach. So a couple of things here. Obviously, that is a very sad and tragic thing.
Right.
Now, we're going to have to talk about what happened to her, what may have, what did. But I did want to ask you if you've ever been to Atlantic City.
I have not.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people go there to gamble, but never been.
That's just one of those places I don't know, just haven't had the need to go there, and be nice to go there at least once.
Yeah. I mean, well, you and I are not big gamblers.
No.
Obviously, we're getting ready to go to Vegas here, and we're probably not going to gamble at all. I didn't gamble last time we were there for CrimeCon. I did give my oldest, who by that point had just turned 21, $100, which I think I've told everyone she lost in about 2 minutes.
It doesn't take long, does it?
It does not. I shouldn't say lost it. She didn't lose it. She
gave it away.
She gave it away, basically. She knows where it went, but
yeah, the hotel was happy about it.
Franchesca Alvarado, who went by the nickname Checka, was born on February 17th, 1990. She was born and raised in the Philadelphia area. Franchesca was the youngest of 8 children. Sadly, she experienced a difficult childhood. Her father began serving a life sentence the year she was born.
Man, that had to be rough on her mom. 8 kids? 9 kids?
And dad goes away for a life sentence. But think about the kids, and especially Franchesca. She's never going to know her father, right, obviously, if he's sentenced to life in prison the year she was born. But even the other kids, I mean, that's just, and again, I don't know if I saw what he did or anything like that, but I'm assuming he deserved a life sentence for, whatever it was. But it's tough on the family.
Absolutely, yeah.
Her mother, Valentina Amador, died of liver disease when Franchesca was just 9 years old.
So the hits just keep coming.
Yeah, I mean, I said it, right? Pretty difficult childhood, and I think we're seeing why. Then, after her mother died, Franchesca and her sister, Frances, were sexually abused by a relative.
I mean, it's not stopping.
No, it's just very tragic. Right, one thing after another. It took Franchesca a long time to come to grips with what happened, and the healing process created an even stronger bond between the sisters. The Philadelphia Daily News reported that Franchesca and Mia lived with different family members until they reached legal age. The Philadelphia Obituary Project reports that their older sister, Christina Ray, adopted the girls and took on a motherly role. Tina was 20 years old at the time and had 2 young sons of her own.
It's a big responsibility.
It is. I mean, having two youngsters is a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
But, amazing of her, right? To take on and adopt her sisters and kind of be their surrogate mother.
Trying to do the best she can, keeping some of the family together.
Franchesca was described as a creative and sporty teenager. She was the type of person who would always lend an ear to a friend and keep their secrets if they asked her to. Okay, creative is a word that gets thrown around for a lot of people. I don't know about sporty, though.
Yeah.
I mean, does that mean you're into sports or that you're a snappy dresser? I really don't know.
I'm going to say it's more of a you're into sports with her. Yeah.
Maybe.
You're a sporty, but that's because of the way you dress.
I'm also super fast. I'll take you outside and race you right now. Tina Ray told Fox 29 her spirit was so bright. She was so beautiful. In the pictures, when you see her smile, that's what she really was. You really couldn't make her mad.
It says a lot about somebody.
It does, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know too many people like that. I can pretty much make anybody mad.
Yeah, it's not hard for you to do that.
No, it seems like I have a real knack for it. It was said that Franchesca had a voice like Whitney Houston. Okay, you can say that someone is a great singer.
Yeah.
But when you compare someone's voice to Whitney Houston, there really is no higher praise.
No, that's the top of the echelon there.
I mean, she is, by most people's standards, one of the greatest voices of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
As far as it comes to singing.
What a great compliment.
One of Francesca's obsessions was Dwayne Johnson, a.k.a. The Rock. She would often shout his signature line, "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" upon entering a room. She even had a photo of The Rock and his wife on her bedroom ceiling. But she put a photo of her face over the wife's.
Now that's interesting because you do something similar. When you come in before we record, you do that whole, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? Mm-hmm. You even do the stance and look up at the corner for some weird reason. And then you too have a poster of Rock and his wife with your picture over her face. It's interesting.
You just think it's weird because I'm wearing the tights and the boots and I'm shirtless and all of that. It's a striking picture.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with the tights and the boots because, I like my singlet, but,
I don't think you should admit that, that you're okay with me in tights and boots.
I'm really not.
I don't think you should. So obviously she had a big thing for The Rock, and I get it. He's a good looking dude. I mean, obviously he's in great shape. I really like him as an actor.
Yeah.
I know not everybody does, but I think he's kind of funny.
He is kind of funny.
Now, not all of his movies are, home runs, but whose are? Let's be honest.
Well, that's because you made him with Kevin Hart.
That's true. Franchesca preferred crafting over going to parties. During high school, she played volleyball, went on outward bound wilderness trips, and enjoyed writing poems about her family.
Oh, man, I love writing poems.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Mostly dirty limericks is what I would call them. But
yeah, I guess I was kind of stretching them, saying they're poems.
Franchesca worked part-time as a supermarket clerk. She didn't make a lot of money, but she would buy her sister Mia gifts at the dollar store or bring Tina roses for Valentine's Day.
Very sweet.
So, I mean, let's put, her life into perspective and the things that everybody said about her. We mentioned it, right? She had a terrible childhood.
Yeah.
But obviously, she was doing pretty well. She had adjusted and really seemed like an amazing person. Thoughtful, caring, loved sports, the outdoors.
I mean, it could have went a totally different direction.
Absolutely. At the age of 18, Franchesca had her daughter, Janiyah. She was absolutely devoted to her daughter, and friends and family noticed that Janiyah was a quick learner because Franchesca read to her and sang to her every day. Mia raised her two daughters alongside Franchesca. Mia told the Philadelphia Obituary Project that Franchesca really was my life partner. We realized that we were all we had, and we just became a team. It was me and her against the world.
I mean, they, were raised underneath the same house, right? I mean, they had the same issues, right? They had to deal with their dad, their mom, the relative that abused both of them, and they're side by side.
Yeah, I think the key thing here is the bond that developed through all of those, trials and tribulations. It was obviously super, super strong between the two siblings.
Yeah.
Franchesca and Janiyah lived with Mia and her children for several years, but in early 2012, a few months before her disappearance, Franchesca and Janiyah moved into a house in the Hunting Park section of Philadelphia so that they could have more space. Franchesca lived with a female roommate who was not identified in the news sources that we use for this episode. In March of 2012, Franchesca planned to enroll in classes at the Community College of Philadelphia. She was a big fan of the show America's Most Wanted and hoped to pursue a career in criminal justice.
I think there was a lot of people that were big fans of that show.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, right? How big was it to get a loved one's case profiled on America's Most Wanted? But here I think is another aspect of the show, which is how many people watched it and either decided they wanted to go into law enforcement or a field related to it, right? Something within the world of criminology, whether it was forensics or something like that. It's kind of hard to really know what type of impact a show like that can have on people.
But I bet it had a significant impact.
Yeah. I think so. Although she had moved, Franchesca remained extremely close with her sisters, and she talked to them almost every day. She was excited because her sister Tina was pregnant, and she was helping to plan the baby shower. She had also purchased an Easter outfit for Janiyah, indicating that, she was looking forward to the holiday. I mean, all of these Gibbs, they were signs, right? That Franchesca was happy. She was planning for the future. Not really indications that she was looking to run away from her life.
I mean, there's no signs there.
No, and it's important, right? We talk about it in a lot of unsolved episodes, but for good reason. When someone disappears, there's always that question. Okay, did they meet with foul play? Did they have some sort of accident? Or did they just decide to up and leave and start a new life? And I think you have to look at what's going on in their life prior to the disappearance to help gauge the likeliness of this kind of runaway, start a new life scenario.
Yeah.
And I think from everything that we've talked about, just not seeing it here. Doesn't mean it couldn't happen. The signs just don't point towards it being that likely.
Yeah, I mean, she really seems happy.
On Saturday, March 17, 2012, Franchesca had plans to go to Atlantic City, New Jersey with a man named Tracy Williams. She got a babysitter for Janiyah and was only supposed to be gone for one night. Sources reported that Franchesca didn't know Williams well. He was really more of an acquaintance. The Philadelphia Daily News reported that he was decades older than Franchesca.
Decades.
That's
significant.
Yeah. It's like one of your relationships. What do they call that? A May-December romance or whatever it is? According to the Philadelphia Obituary Project, Franchesca wanted to let off some steam before registering for classes the following week. Sometimes, Gibbs, you just have to let off some steam.
Absolutely. Got to do it, man.
We were eating pizza for dinner before we started recording. My wife and daughter have one more day left of teaching.
Yeah.
And they don't even have kids anymore. The kids' last day was today. I mean, they're excited as all get out. They might throw a kegger for all I know this weekend.
They might. But they're going to be letting off some steam. They're going to be happy. And the Sunday night routine is going to change.
Yeah. No more having to get up. Mia said that Franchesca had taken Janiyah to Atlantic City before, adding, Atlantic City to her was like Vegas. It was like the Great Escape. She felt like she was on top of the world. And I get it. That's how these places make you feel.
Yeah.
Right? Vegas, Atlantic City, they want you to feel like you're on top of the world. They want you to feel happy, loose and let go of that money a little bit.
Exactly what they want. That's why they're catered to you.
Franchesca left on March 17th with Williams and his kids. Her sisters didn't hear from her after that. At first, they just thought she decided to extend her stay. Then Tracy Williams returned to Philadelphia, but Franchesca did not. Tina told Metro Philadelphia she was supposed to come back later on the next day. You go to Atlantic City for the day and you're expected to come back. And I think especially a person like Franchesca is expected to return because she has obligations.
Yeah, she's got her daughter.
Job. Now, is it out of the question that somebody might be having so much fun that they want to extend their stay? No, absolutely not. But what would you expect to happen if that were the case?
Yeah, you're going to get a phone call, right?
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'm going to stay another day if that's okay. Can you watch, my baby for me and I'll be back.
Right. So if you don't get that, it just seems like, okay, that's probably not what happened. It's also the reason why we talk about, right? What a great person she was.
Yeah.
Being thoughtful, being caring. You would expect that if she was going to do that, she would have called at least one of her sisters, if not both. The sisters were unable to get in contact with Franchesca on March 18th. On Monday, March 19th, Mia went to Francesca's home in Hunting Park to check on her. She spoke to Francesca's roommate, who said that Franchesca had gone to Atlantic City and would be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Wow.
Which sounds strange.
Sure does.
Because everybody else has it from Franchesca that this is like a one-night trip. And Mia thought it was odd because she knew Franchesca would have told her if she was going on a 2-week trip. Mia also knew without a doubt that Franchesca would not have left Janiyah for so long without making proper preparations. And we mentioned it, right? She'd only arranged a sitter for one night.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't pass the smell test.
No, that's not a person who is planning from the get-go to, stay in Atlantic City for 2 weeks. Yet you've only procured a babysitter for one night.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. Mia was so alarmed, she and Tina filed a missing persons report. And I don't blame them one bit. I mean, I think if I was in their situation, I would be pretty alarmed as well.
Yeah.
Authorities learned that Franchesca went to Resorts Casino with her male friend. The Philadelphia Obituary Project reports that she left the hotel room at Resorts around 2 a.m. and said she was going for a walk. She never returned.
I mean, 2 a.m. in a resort area like that, I'm assuming it's similar to Vegas.
Maybe on a smaller scale, but yeah, right. There's a lot going on at 2 a.m. probably. Is that what you're getting at?
Exactly.
I think you're right.
I mean, I don't think it's like a sleepy town or anything. I'm sure there's people out and about walking around too. Now, are they going to be are they going to be the type of people you want to run into though? Right.
I mean, most people say that very little happens good after midnight, right?
Yeah.
Some people say that. You get into 2, especially 3 o'clock. Okay, people call that the witching hour or whatever. But I'm with you. Vegas, Atlantic City, places like that, 2 a.m. is probably not that big a deal. A lot of places there are open 24 hours. People are partying into the early morning, probably.
Yeah.
But to leave alone and then never return, obviously, that's a big kind of milestone marker in this case.
And why did she feel like she had to leave at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Right. So what was she doing? Where was she going? Those are things we don't know. There was no record of anyone going in or out of the hotel room after she left until the following morning. Williams and his kids checked out and returned to Philadelphia. When questioned by the police, Tracy Williams said that he and Franchesca split off in Atlantic City, and she told him she would find her own way back. Now, is it possible that you go on a trip with someone and you get in such a fight that you just don't want to have anything to do with them. You don't even want to ride back with them, and you're going to figure out how to get back on your own. Yes, it is possible. Do a lot of people do that? Probably not.
No, I don't think so. But I mean, like you said, it's possible. And it wasn't like she was super close with Williams either. They were more acquaintances.
But you'd have to say, right, that most likely to police, Tracy Williams is looking a little suspicious in this whole thing.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because the story, while possible, maybe to the authorities, is not all that plausible. Police learned that Franchesca was last seen near the Borgata Hotel, Casino and Spa. Her sisters were especially worried because at the time of her disappearance, her cell phone was either lost or broken. So she had her laptop with her for communication. Her laptop has never been found, according to Fox 29. And we're also attached to our phones nowadays that, I mean, most people can't even imagine being without one for any period of time.
I think if you wanted to try a social experiment, I think you could, take everybody's phone that lives in your house and lock them up and see what happens over the next 72 hours.
I can tell you what's happening. You're going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
And things are going to go real bad for you.
It's not going to.
It's going to be Lord of the Flies up in here in my house.
You're going to be like, so Gibby wants us to put our phones in this little box. And he's going to lock them up.
Yeah, I would blame it on you if that happened because it would be bad. But,
yeah,
I guess my point is we just are so accustomed to having our phones with us and being able to communicate, pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
Whether it's, via phone or text or email or however. So to not have your phone and be forced to only be able to communicate, through your computer, that must have been tough.
But to communicate with somebody, you still have to find a place where you can get internet access, and then send your email. And then what, are you going to wait for a little bit? Or are you doing some type of messaging on the computer, waiting for that other party to respond before you leave wherever you found the internet access at? It just seems like a very difficult method of communication.
Yeah, I mean, a little tougher. I mean, I guess if you got a Mac and you're an Apple user, you could probably, you can text on an Apple computer just like you would on your phone. But you mentioned you got to have service. Now, I'm assuming she had service at the hotel. But if you're going on a walk, are you really going to take your laptop with you? Most people wouldn't.
I wouldn't think so, but
you're not just going to tuck it under your shoulder and or your arm and walk around town. So to me, the fact that it's never been found is okay. Something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Now, the sisters don't believe she left on her own. Tina told Metro Philadelphia, Franchesca didn't have a car. He was her ride there, and it's very mysterious. I think that goes back to my point. Yeah, it's possible they got into a tiff or something like that. But normally when you take a ride or a trip with someone and they're the driver, you come back with them. Now, it might be a silent trip.
Right.
And you might part ways after the trip is over. But how else are you getting home? You taking maybe a train? There's probably a train that runs from Atlantic City to Philadelphia.
To add to what you just said, I just feel like, if you take somebody somewhere, it's kind of your responsibility to make sure they get back safe too.
Yeah, there's a part of that. But again, I think the police are probably looking at Tracy with quite a bit of suspicion. Mia told the Philadelphia Daily News that the notion Franchesca would leave on her own was ridiculous. Franchesca, who is described as a homebody, would not leave the city by herself. She didn't go to the Jersey Shore often and would likely be worried about getting on the wrong bus to get home. So I mentioned the train. Obviously, there's the bus as well. Probably not taking a taxi, right? Or that would be pretty expensive.
Yeah, probably too much money there.
After Franchesca went missing, a group of 30 or more family and friends traveled to Atlantic City every 2 days and spent their nights on the boardwalk handing out flyers and looking for clues.
Dedication there.
Yeah, but like we always say, right? If it's your family member or your really good friend, I mean, that's the type of stuff that, people are going to give up their time for. And heck, sometimes strangers do that. It's admirable. The Philadelphia Obituary Project reported that police officers tore the flyers down because they didn't fit the, quote, family-friendly image of the area.
So, yeah, I think that's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if that's what happened, I get it. Well, maybe there's an ordinance against putting up flyers. That would be one thing. But if there's no ordinance against it and, they're simply tearing it down because it's making the city look bad. Okay, well, the family's trying to find their loved one.
Right. Help them out.
Tina told Metro Philadelphia in April 2012, the not knowing is what's going to kill us because it's been so many days. When somebody's missing, you live every day without knowing what's happened to them, even if she's not okay, even if she's not alive, if we can just find her. Because who can live with looking for a loved one every day without knowing what happened to them? It's horrible how you can wake up in the morning and the sun is shining. It's beautiful. And then night comes and it's another night that she hasn't come home. And I'll be honest with you, I think she pretty much encapsulates exactly what, a lot of the victims' families go through. And we've heard it time and time again. The not knowing is the worst part. Yep. Yeah. Nobody wants to find out that their loved one was killed, but not ever knowing is worse than finding that out.
Just to be in that limbo.
Yeah. Because at a certain point, Gibbs, everybody, I'm sure, has to come, maybe not to the realization, but it has to be there in their mind that something really bad has happened. When so much time goes by, at a certain point, people have to start looking at the probability.
Yeah.
That there was foul play or something bad has happened. So then you're getting into the territory of, you probably already think the worst, but just you're never going to know.
And that can go on for years and years, as we know.
The family was also upset that reports surfaced with misinformation, including claims that Franchesca was a sex worker and was depressed. Tina explained people really believe she was an escort or that she was depressed or sad. She just went to Atlantic City for the day. I don't know where they got she was an escort. She's never done that in her life. She doesn't have a criminal record and she's not a drug addict. I just don't want people to think she was somebody that was sad and walked away from her life.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating, to hear people say things about your sister that, you don't believe is true. Why are they saying these things? And you don't want the narrative to be that she was sad, so she just walked away from her life.
Or possibly ended her life. True Crime All the Time Unsolved is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Well, Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money. When you bundle your home and auto policies, the process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, potential savings will vary. Not available in all states. As the months passed without answers, Franchesca's family continued handing out thousands of flyers and distributing them at hospitals and shelters. They hosted events in the area to raise awareness. Lieutenant Harold Lloyd, a Philadelphia East detective, said Philadelphia authorities were working with the Atlantic City Police and the FBI. Tracy Williams was questioned extensively. He was cooperative in the beginning, but eventually got a lawyer and refused to take a polygraph. Lieutenant Lloyd told Philadelphia Daily News, this is very much an ongoing investigation, so I can't say whether Williams is or is not a person of interest. We are working on some new leads. And, I've said it a couple of times, right? I think the police had to have looked at Tracy Williams with quite a bit of suspicion. Now, in the beginning, he's cooperative. We don't know what changed his cooperation. Was it maybe some hard questions, some accusations even?
But, I mean, he did the right thing. Lawyer up. Don't do the polygraph.
Yeah, I agree with you. But, there's also this thing of, how does it make him look to the average person? Because even though I do think in most instances that's the best course of action, I also think that a lot of people still view that as, well, he must be guilty, because why would you need to lawyer up if you're not guilty?
Oh, I definitely think it didn't look good to the public.
But here's the thing I thought was kind of strange. Okay, yes, it is an ongoing investigation. But when you say, as law enforcement, I can't say whether he is or is not a person of interest. Well, if he wasn't a person of interest, I think you could come out and say it. So to me, really kind of saying that is, to me, saying he is.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Now, I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's how I'm taking it. I get it. For legal reasons, they probably can't come out and say it. But to me, by saying it that way, you're saying it without saying it. Franchesca's sisters also reported that her roommate at the time declined to cooperate with investigators per the Philadelphia Obituary Project. And remember, the roommate was the one who said that she was going to Atlantic City for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I still find that very strange.
I do too. So you wonder what type of connection is there?
Yeah, we don't know what the relationship was. We don't really know much about it. Mia told the Daily News that whoever was responsible may have known of Franchesca's difficult background and presumed no one would miss her. They couldn't be more wrong. Mia explained that before she died, their mother told her to always look after Franchesca and to stick together.
Well, in a perfect world, that's what siblings do. Look after each other.
Yeah, I get it. Not all siblings get along great. You'd love for them too, but it doesn't always happen. Over a year after Franchesca went missing, on August 6, 2013, the New Jersey State Police reported that a man fishing on the beach at Corson's Inlet State Park found a shoe with human remains inside. Inside an Adidas high-top sneaker was a fully intact foot. The toes still had traces of glittery purple nail polish. Authorities released a picture of the sneaker. Mia screamed when she saw the photo on the evening news. She knew right away that it was her sister's shoe.
Oh, how tragic.
She contacted the New Jersey State Police, who began DNA testing. Mia told Fox 29, "I couldn't stand those sneakers. I hated those sneakers. I told her they were so ugly. So as soon as we saw that, we knew that was Franchesca. I just couldn't accept that reality. So I said, she knew I hated those sneakers. She threw it in the water because she wanted me to find her. She's fighting and she wants us to keep fighting." I was so in denial. And, to be honest, I think that's an easy place for victims' family members to find themselves in.
Yeah.
Kind of a place of denial. Okay, this doesn't look good, but I'm going to spin it, right? For my own mental health or my own well-being. I don't want to give up. I don't want to believe this is her. So I'm going to say, she threw it in there to help me try to find her.
But you got to do what you have to do to keep, like you said, keep your mental wellness going on.
Yeah, I think you do. 6 weeks later, the family received confirmation that the foot was Franchesca's remains. According to the Philadelphia Daily News, when the state police asked for additional swabs from Janiyah, they knew what the results were going to be. Although the foot was intact, it was badly decomposed, which may explain why DNA testing took several weeks. On September 25, 2013, the family announced on Facebook that the foot found in the shoe was Franchesca.
So does the dreams of the family just come crumbling down at that point?
I don't know. I think it depends on the family. It depends on the family member, probably. Because I still think there are ways that you can spin it. Yeah, it's her foot. It was in her shoe. But maybe just something happened to her foot and she's still alive and well.
Yeah, that's true.
Out there somewhere. And there, I'm sure, are going to be people that are looking at it as a very, very bad sign. According to their statement on Facebook, they said, "It is with deep sadness, pain, and heartache that we inform you, Team Checa, the loss of our beloved sister, Franchesca Alvarado. It has been confirmed from the state of New Jersey that the DNA match is our sister." The family told the media that the hardest part was trying to explain to Francesca's daughter that she wasn't coming back. Tina had been taking care of Janiyah after Franchesca went missing. Mia told NBC 10, "I kept telling my niece, Mommy's working. Mommy's going to come home. Yesterday, I had to look at her differently." And I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people to feel for in this story. Janiyah, Franchesca, the victim, but also her sisters, right? You think about Mia taking care of her daughter and ultimately at some point having to tell her that, Mommy's not coming home. Also, I just keep thinking about her seeing this shoe on the news. And obviously, if the police had any idea that was her shoe, they probably would have come to her before splashing it all over the news.
Yeah.
I don't think they had any idea whose it was.
I also think about what Tina and Mia have went through all their time together growing up with Franchesca, and now they lose her. It's like another notch on that journey through hell.
Now that they had confirmation that Franchesca was dead, their focus shifted. They believed Franchesca was murdered, and they wanted the killer to be brought to justice. Mia told Fox 29 years later, "It's just frustrating how we had to find my sister. There were no authorities that found her. There was no search crew. No one searched the water. They all fell on she left willingly, so she will return willingly."
So if it wasn't for that fisherman that day, would they be still wondering what happened to her sister?
Yeah, it's possible. But I do want to get back to this, this thing, and it's cropped up in a lot of the cases that we've done, where police, when they're dealing with an adult and a missing persons report of an adult, use that kind of line that is, well, they're an adult, they can go missing if they want to, or, they don't have to check in, all of that stuff. I understand that way of thinking. But I think at a certain point, when you look at how much time has elapsed and you look at the circumstances around the person's life, I think you just have to take it all into account instead of making a blanket statement. Heck, Gibbs, they used to say, authorities did, that kids, when they ran away, they'll just come back.
Yeah.
And now we don't treat kids like that anymore. And I don't feel like we should, in most cases, treat adults like that. Now, there have been times where somebody has had this really long history of leaving for long periods of time and then coming back. Okay, well, that's a circumstance that you look at, and maybe in that case, it is kind of looked at as that. But when you have somebody who doesn't have that history, has no reason to just up and leave, I just think that's a hard pill to swallow. They left willingly and they'll come back willingly.
And there's time restraints. When you don't go out and start looking for someone right away, it's not going to help the case.
No, there are things that maybe you could learn within the first, 48 hours, 72 hours that you're not going to learn after that, because the people that you could have asked that have the information, they're now gone. Maybe They were just in town for, a few days or whatever. I mean, to your point, it's always better, right, to get started sooner rather than later.
So why not err on that side versus doing this hold and wait, process that some of these police departments do?
As time passed, the sisters frequently Googled human remains found and bones found waiting for more of their sister's remains to wash up on shore.
What a strange thing to have to do to figure out if your sister's remains are going to be popping up on some beach somewhere. Like, you're tracking this down yourself.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's not a thing that you just do once, right? They're having to Google this probably at a pretty good pace, like every so often, because you want to look to see if there are any news stories that might be applicable to your sister.
So, we're talking about this case here, and I can't help but, in my mind, think about the TCAT case that we're doing. Body parts being found near the beach. I wonder if articles like that pop up when they search.
Oh, well, it could be. I mean, we're talking about the Long Island serial killer.
Yeah.
So geographically, it's, not that far, really. In 2014, Franchesca's tibia washed up on shore in the same waters. In 2015, her femur was found. Mia said about the additional discoveries, per the Philadelphia Inquirer, "It's so bittersweet. I get this sense of joy, like a spiritual joy, that Franchesca is like spiritually cheering me on. Yes, girl, yes."
I mean, I guess I would be happy to find more body parts of my loved one.
Well, I guess you could look at it a couple different ways. You could look at it as you're closer to recovering that person's remains.
Yeah.
Even though it's at this point piece by piece. You could also look at it from the standpoint of, I think there's pretty little doubt that Francesca's not coming back. Right? At first there was the foot. To me, that's not a great sign. But when you start finding tibias and femurs and things like that, I think it's pretty hard to stay hopeful that she's still alive.
Yeah. I think the only one thing that I would be happy about is maybe there's going to be some type of clue that could help us.
Yeah. Yeah, because not only are they trying to figure out what happened to her, but if somebody hurt her, then you got to figure out who did that. On April 4th, 2016, the family chose to bury the recovered bones on top of their mother's grave. Every Thanksgiving since 2012, a group of family and friends go to the Baptist church across from the Resorts Casino Hotel in Atlantic City, the area where Franchesca was last seen, to deliver food and clothing to those in need. Thanksgiving was Francesca's favorite holiday, so this is a way to honor her memory and continue to raise awareness for her case. The group feeds about 70 to 90 families each year.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's a really impressive thing. In 2021, Mia told the Philadelphia Inquirer that nearly every day for 8 years, she has Googled phrases like human remains, bones, Atlantic Ocean, found. Every day for 8 years. She also said when nothing comes up, she feels both relieved and anguished.
It would be that would be some tough feelings to have.
Well, that is the definition of a no-win situation.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming she feels like she has no choice but to keep doing that, because what if she misses something? What if there's a story out there about some human remains being found and she chooses that day not to look it up? Maybe she's going to miss it. I don't know.
Yeah.
When Mia does find news stories about human remains found near the area where Franchesca went missing, she calls medical examiners to get more information. Tina told the Inquirer, "We were grateful because other people are never found at all. Now it's just a matter of who's responsible."
Yeah, I think that's where, the detectives need to start. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of the detectives digging in, trying to get some type of lead, but that's going to be tough, I think, in this case.
Yeah, I don't know that they have a lot to go on. Detective Sergeant Joseph Eitri told the Inquirer that their leads have been exhausted. The New Jersey State Police consider Francesca's case cold, but it does remain open. The family has never received a cause of death, and no additional remains of Franchesca have been found. There are no known persons of interest, and no arrests have ever been made in connection to Franchesca's disappearance and death. Anyone with information about the disappearance and death of Franchesca Alvarado is asked to contact the New Jersey State Police Major Crime South Unit at 609-882-2000, extension 3353. So, Gibbs, as we wrap this case up, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Franchesca, along with her sisters, it sounds like, especially one of her sisters, had a really rough childhood. But it seems to me as though she fought through, and she was on the other side of that. She was doing pretty well in life. You know, she had a daughter. She had an extremely close bond with, one of her sisters, and I believe both.
Yeah.
I just keep going back to the fact that she planned to go to Atlantic City for one night with this man who was referred to as an acquaintance. You have the roommate telling, I think, authorities that she said she would be gone for 2 weeks. That's strange. What's also strange is that, Tracy Williams comes back and says, well, we kind of went our separate ways. And Franchesca said she'd find her own way back. Well, is that the truth? Or did something happen? And that's a version of the story that, he wants everyone to believe.
But if he's not willing to talk anymore than he has, we're never going to know anything else there.
No, and if he had something to do with her disappearance and death, why in the world would he talk?
Exactly. And that was very bizarre for what her roommate said. But if that's what someone told her roommate, I think, I'm assuming the police, checked it out. Why did you say 2 weeks? Where did you hear that from? Who told you that?
Yeah, we don't have the answers to that.
Yeah.
But that could be a nothing burger, but it did seem strange.
I definitely feel like it's foul play, though.
I do too. I think the police just don't have a lot to go on. I still go back to the one investigator saying, well, we can't call this person a person of interest, but we're also not saying he's not a person of interest. I think a lot of times, if you have completely ruled someone out, you most likely would come out and say they're not a person of interest.
Yeah.
So it's like a non-denial denial. Is that what it's called?
I think so.
That's the way I'm looking at it. But I don't really know what that means. And there wasn't a lot about him, in the research as the years went on, right? He talked with them initially. He kind of shut them down, and they probably didn't have much more to go on.
Yeah.
So it doesn't tell us a whole lot about him.
It really doesn't.
But that's it for our episode on Franchesca Alvarado. We got a voicemail. You want to check that out?
Let's hear it.
Hey, this is Jenna from Clover, South Carolina. I'm still going through all of the past episodes, and I made it to, I think, August of 2024. But something that I've noticed about you, Mike, is that when you're talking about the years, you always say, 1984, 1850, all of those good things. But then when you talk about the 2000s, you always say 2024. But you don't say 1994. So I'm just curious why the change there. I say 2024 or 2026, and just 1995, 1996. So just curious your thoughts on that. We'll listen for this later on. Thanks, guys.
Man, that's a great question. I don't really know why I do that.
I've been telling you for years you're saying it wrong.
No, you've never said a word. But I did notice it because in this episode I said 2012.
Yeah.
I very rarely say 2012 or 20. But she's right. I always say 1985 or 1991 or.
Well, it would feel weird if you didn't say it like that.
It'd be 1,900 and yeah. But maybe the 2012 sounds weird, but it doesn't to me. I don't know why.
It just rolls off your tongue that
it does.
That easy.
It does.
Interesting though.
Yep. I love it when people point out stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that they can point out about you.
Well, there's a lot of mistakes that I make for sure. I wouldn't call this a mistake. It's just a kind of a strange detail.
I think on our mistake board, I'm putting it as a mistake on your side because
yours is full.
Yes.
We can't even put any more on there. We're going to have to erase some of the ones to make more room. But we appreciate the voicemail very much. All right, buddy, that is it for another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
At first, I didn't think it was real. I woke up to this blinding light, and I was transported to another place. Pluto TV. Then I heard a voice.
Come with me if you want to live.
There were thousands of movies and shows, and they were all free.
Truth is ours.
It's just so beautiful.
On Pluto TV, free streaming of Terminator 2, Fringe, Arrow, The 100, and The X-Files may cause excitement, loss of sleep, and sudden belief in extraterrestrials. No credit cards or alien encounters necessary. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.